Recording. We're good.
This meeting is being recorded.
All right, you're good to go?
We're good to go.
All right. Hello, everybody. This is Danielle C. Baker. Welcome to the Talk to Danielle podcast. And of course, I am your host. I have a great guest that I'm going to introduce in a minute. I just wanted to kind of give you a rundown of this show. We're just starting right now. We're on episode 5. And this is a show where we're just talking about things that we wish we would have known when we were younger, just to make life easier. So there's a range of different topics, no sugarcoating. So we just tell it as it is, and hopefully we'll be able to give you some tools and some resources that can help you in your life. And today I have an amazing guest, a really good friend of mine, Betty Alvarado, and she's going to talk to us about healing through flower essences. So a lot of people are looking to go to natural types of healing. And I had the opportunity to try myself, and I just love the results. So I will let Betty tell us more about it. And thank you so much, Betty, for joining me today.
Oh, Danielle, thank you so much. What a beautiful introduction. You hit the spot when you said things I wish I knew when I was younger. 100%. Mm-hmm. So, well, yeah, as you said, I am a flower essence practitioner. Apart from many things, I am a teacher as well. So I'm a teacher, but I do natural healing through flower essences. Yeah. And what was your question?
It's just actually, yeah, I forgot. I don't even think I asked you the question. It's just like I said, we are so informal that we just kind of roll with the punches. So can you just tell us a little
exactly?
bit about
I love it. Yeah, but yeah, that's what I do. Just
yeah,
rolling with flowers. It's what I enjoy doing. The other day, someone asked me, "What are your non-negotiables?" And I was like, "Non-negotiables?" I'm like, "Yeah, that makes sense." Well, my non-negotiables are my meditation practice. Like every morning, I'll wake up and meditate, no matter what. And that can mean anything. That doesn't mean to sit down cross-legged and Buddha pose. It just means take a moment for myself, whether I effectively do want to sit down and Buddha pose and ground myself for a moment, or it means going for a walk at 6 a.m. before getting the day rolling, and just taking moments for myself. I'm a mother of 2 children, a wife, so that's a beautiful part of life that also involves a lot of energy towards others and less to myself.
Yes, and you really touched on that, as well as I lived through it as well. We wear many hats, and you're a teacher, so you're taking care of your kids, you're taking care of other people's children as well, and we tend to forget to take care of ourselves sometimes, and that practice of taking time for yourself is very, very important, no matter what that looks like to you.
Exactly,
like you said, it doesn't have to be the whole Buddha pose and not think about anything for half an hour. Not all of us have that time. So yeah, those little moments are so important. Can you tell us the whole concept of healing through flower essences and how that came to be for you? What does that do?
Okay, so the whole concept of feeling through flower essences kind of just fell in my lap one day. Of course, normally we have to hit rock bottom in order to actually start looking to something that will actually work before it's too late, or we end up doing something horrible, or just taking a wrong direction in life. And at this point, I was, when was it? If I'm correct, it would be probably right after my second born child. She was born in 2017 to 2017. After maternity leave, I had really bad going back to work moments. I didn't want to. Everything felt not right. I wasn't correctly mothering either, because my mind was everywhere else but where it should be. So I was like, okay, maybe I should look into myself. Maybe I should see a professional that can help me through with mental health. And I did so, and it was great. But that made me realize that that wasn't what I needed to work on, that I really needed to go internally, and that no one was going to help me do that.
Mm-hmm.
And that there was no point in taking pills that were going to numb everything that I was feeling. So I was talking to a friend, and he said, oh, I'm going to go see this woman that gives me flower essences. And I'm like, flower essences? I'm like, okay, well, what is that? Like, you know, tell me a little bit about this. I mean, he's a very anxious person, this man. So I was like, there's, you know, if you're looking into like different types of healing, I kind of want to know. And then he told me that she just makes like this like magic potion for him, and then that's what he kind of figured it was, and it worked for him. And I was like, okay, I'm up for a magic potion. And I went to talk to her, and she gave me flower essences, which are these it's a 30 milliliter dropper bottle, and they're drops that go underneath the tongue. You can put it in your water bottle. The idea is that it enters your body some way or another. Ideally underneath the tongue, because your tongue, we have nervous system, and it kind of just hits the spot right away, instead of going through the whole water where it takes a little while, right? So if we want something fast underneath the tongue, if we're okay and we want to like linger on it during the day, you just put it in your water bottle. And I was fascinated. 3 to 5 months in, everything that I was feeling made sense. Everything is, I went through a full therapy with flower essences. And because the nice thing about flower essences, it could be daily, it could be a therapy, it could be very particular, it could go, it could hit like the spot, and then you just never have to touch it again if you don't want to, or it could be something you live by. So I did this, I did a therapy, and by 3-4 months in, I had a big reality check. I had a very big reality check, and that kind of just changed everything for me.
That's incredible. And you've mentioned so many important things, that there's some people, just the fact that oftentimes we wait till we hit rock bottom.
I'm on a podcast. I'm becoming famous.
No, that's right. And it's, you know, what the flowers is, and it made me laugh when you said the magic potion is, I grew up with the traditional medicines, you know, the plant-based medicines, and it always fascinated me. And you mentioned magic potions, because that's what I used to call them too, but there is a science behind there. There really
there's a science behind it, but when you don't know, you know.
That's right, but it really does, especially with vibrations, that we're going with the essence of a flower that has its own vibration, and that has particular healing properties to it. So it's just great. How do you see it? Because you touched on it. You went through a whole 3 to 5 month therapy with it. How does it help us in everyday life? Like, can you give us like some examples of what that would look like?
Okay, so because I became so obsessed with how quick I was able to understand myself, and then just start changing all these things about me, I was able to talk to my practitioner and say, okay, you know what, this is how I'm feeling now. Very different from what I was feeling before. So let's move on to another stage of my life, right? And there's a flower for everything, from feeling extremely happy to feeling really low, because everything is an emotion. Everything is an emotion, right? That's what we feel all day long. And I started studying. On my own. I started buying books. And then I took courses on becoming a practitioner to understand where they come from. So if we want to look at it as a whole, every single flower has a vibration, no matter what it is, no matter what plant, they all have a certain vibration. Some of them are extremely high, and we can take them internally so they can change our vibration, so we can receive the vibration of the flower. And there's others that that are not extremely high, so it won't make much of a difference. So then we start narrowing it down. And the father per se of this is Edward Bach. I have a book. Where is it? No, it's Edward Bach. And and he created the original batch flower essences, the Bach flowers, and I'll tell you what they kind of look like. So here I have two, and this is a holly. So this is holly flower essence, and you can get these at a store. You can get them, but the thing is, most people don't know how to use them, and which makes sense, right? Why would you? And then there's this little one, which is chicory. So then you have these, and holly, for example, is one of the highest vibrations that there is in the love era, the love feeling. So what does that mean for us, like as humans? It raises our love vibration, almost like we could say like opens up our heart energy center. I have personally taken that. I love holly. I think it's one of my favorite flower essences, because not only does it not permit you to be angry, because you're in a state of love and forgiveness the whole entire time. So you're able to see things through a different light no matter what. And that's what the flowers do to you. They change how they change the perspective of how you see things. And each flower has a different perspective.
That's amazing. And it does make a difference. And it's you mentioned something very important too, is people don't know how to use it. So it's not something that you can just whip together and take it, because it does affect you a certain way. You have to make sure it affects you the positive way and not the negative way.
Well, what people will do, they'll go out and buy it, and they're so desperate because when you get to a point where you just start buying all these things and you're like, I need to get well, there's a desperate part of you, right?
Yeah.
I had a client from Mexico, and I was teaching her how to use flower essences, and it was her first class, and she was so excited. She mixed all her things together. She called me the next day and she says, I couldn't sleep. I am like hyperventilating. Oh no, this is new, and I feel like it's the flowers because the only thing I have changed. And why is this? And I'm like, okay, well, let's take a couple steps back. And she was putting way too much in. Because you can't, they have no counter effect. Like, so if you could take the whole bottle, you're not going to die. It's not a poison. But it won't have the effect that you need. The effect that you need is slow. So that's why you only take, it's 4 drops. You're taking 4 to 6 drops maximum. And on your first days, you only want to take 4 drops, especially if you're buying the original sets. And because she was a student that bought original sets, she wanted to take them all right away. So she had this reaction where she couldn't sleep and she was overwhelmed instead of lowering her. So then I was like, okay, no, you really have to pay attention to the guidelines. Okay, yes. So there are guidelines to take, and you have to be patient. And they're talking about patience. There's one, it's called impatience. Impatience is a flower. It's a very cute little flower. It almost looks like I should have it here. I have my flower, like my flower tarot, I call it. It's my flower tarot. Impatience comes in different colors. That one's we see it anywhere in North America. You can find it in Europe as well. So can you see that?
Yeah, I can see that.
So it's kind of like an open mouth little flower. And it's really tiny. The thing is, these flowers, they're tiny. At least this one is, right? There's others that are much bigger. But if you see it like in nature, it's really tiny. And in patience, it helps you with your patience too. So you get another perspective on how patience is. Clients with road rage, for example, it really fixes their life.
That would be a good one to have. It's just something that I think we, not just road rage on the road, but just in the mall or, in a store, the
In
grocery
general,
store.
it's all about your patience. It's like if you get impatient for any other or reason, that's like your go-to flower.
Yeah, absolutely. That's amazing. And I know because I've tried them, and so I could say, from experience, that the difference it makes, and the slow process is important, because it's what we call soft medicines. Where I come from, it's not. It does take time, and it's better for you. It's more beneficial if it goes through time. I've tried the one where it balances your whole system, and the focus one is my favorite one because I really need it. My head is all over the place. I'm
Oh,
thinking
that
of
was
a hundred
perfect. I'm so
things that,
thankful for you for
yeah,
trusting me, and
yeah,
thankful for actually using them. And each one I make specific ones for each and every person. Like you asked, I need to focus on this. I want to get this and that done.
yeah.
What can I do? And it's I'll just okay. That's what we want to do. So it depends on what you want to focus on. So if you want to get something done, we're looking at procrastination. We're looking at what is stopping you from focusing on something. What are the distractions? Not everyone will have the same distractions. Um, that's why it's important for people to also understand that this is a unique therapy. So the more the practitioner gets as information, the better.
Exactly. Yeah, because you can kind of customize it for everybody. And that brings me into my next question of how you introduce the concept. Because I know I've done kind of a questionnaire to give you some information on it. But how do you introduce this concept to new clients? How do you get them to, or the kind of services that you offer for them as well?
That's a good question. It's tough because I feel like even for me, I have this like sales block per se, right? Because I don't want to come off as salesy because that's not really my mission. However, we even talked about this before of this abuse of power that happens in systems, right?
Right.
We're familiar with it in the education system. However, it happens everywhere, right? And I feel that that when I get my message across, it does mean that no, it's not something that I'm just going to give out to you because you want it, right? It's something important that you want to take into consideration. How I present it to people is aligning just your emotions. We don't even talk about our emotions. For years, I feel like we're in a different era where our emotions are valid and we can talk about them much more than we could have maybe 20 years ago. And then from beyond, forget about it, right? The more you suppress, the better. However, like I said, I feel like we're in an era where we do need to understand our feelings, when we need to get them across, and we can't get them across if we're suppressing them. So the more we understand ourselves, the more we can also give to others. A lot of people are like, oh, I just want to help others. But how can you help others if you have not helped yourself one single bit? It's impossible. It's impossible. You will just hit your head over and over and over and over again until you understand where your own feelings are coming from.
Yeah.
So that's what flower essences do. They give you that special touch of like, okay, all right, this is where this is coming from. This is where this feeling, this is why I have this emotion. I can't believe it was so simple. All right, let's move on. That's how simple it is.
That's amazing. So I can see that because we've talked about this before, where we can. Sorry, my earbuds are falling out. But it can even help you heal past traumas because you are going to the core. You're working from the inside and addressing those feelings you've been suppressing. So can you give us a bit more detail about that on how you can use
flower
the flower
essences?
essence?
Can be either like a therapy or a one-stop shop sort of. Okay, I need to focus on my getting my thesis statement out. Okay, I'm gonna take this week and I'm just gonna check this out and work on my procrastination. That would be a momentary flower that you would just take for that particular thing. But if you want to heal past wounds, we would go deeper into what traumas are there. And we don't even have to, the nice thing about this is like, you don't even have to know what the trauma is, because
Yeah.
sometimes you don't know what it is. Or sometimes you know you feel pain, but you don't know why you feel that pain. And sometimes it's not your job to know why, because
Yeah.
either it's it could be suppressed, it could be anger, it could be somebody else's energy, it could be a million and one things. So some people will say, I just feel angry all the time, I just don't know why. Don't worry, stop right there. Just stop right there, because we don't need to get into details. We need you to understand where that's coming from. And then there's essences like Star of Bethlehem. The Star of Bethlehem as flower essences is it's this beautiful white flower. Let's see if I can find a cute little picture of it.
I love those cards. Oh, there it is. Yeah.
I'll give you a reading after. You'll love
Okay.
it. The Star of Bethlehem is like it's like the healer of all healers, the soother of sorrows is its nickname. I think that says a lot. The soother of sorrows. It goes deeper into our wounds that we cannot see, that we have not been able to understand. So sometimes it's hard to understand it. So I find that what flower essences do is let you see those wounds in the perfect light, so you don't get overwhelmed, so you don't see your problem as a real problem, so you see your problem as an observer and not as a victim. So then it's easier to heal the victim part of yourself.
Yeah, and that's great. A lot of people are looking for that when you're doing the inner work, and that's something that I do as well in my practice for healing. Is you don't necessarily you don't want to relive your traumas, so just to do it as an observer. And it's, if you've never done it, it's kind of hard to imagine, but you're just kind of reviewing. You're not reliving it, you're just reviewing it. And that's a whole game changer, because the emotions are not attached to it. And in a sense that you can't let go. You're able to let go when you're looking at it through an observer's eye, which is wonderful. And there is a science for those who are just thinking, oh, this is kind of a little not used to hearing this.
A little voodoo.
That's right.
And you know what? You can even call it so as well. There is a huge science behind it. It is definitely not something that the FDA has approved, and I wouldn't even want them to.
Because then they would regulate it. Yeah, they would put their touch to it. Yeah.
But to get a feel, if we go into understanding why flower essences would work, it's because we're made from earth, right? We're earth beings. And just imagine how a flower grows. So if the same flower, the same seed grows and grows and grows, you don't need to plant every single year, right? Yeah. You go to the same spots and the flowers grow. This is why flower essences always come from nature. They don't really come from like ingrown plants, because the vibration of the flower gets it through everything that it lives through. So for example, impatiens flower, it will grow and it will grow again. And every year it gets hit really hard. These flowers get hit, they go through spring, winter, summer, and fall. They get literally bird messages, whether we like to admit it or not. Like birds are always, taking flowers and trees and just magnifying whatever they need to do. You have insects, bees, and all of this gives it a different type of vibration. So these flowers, they grow, they bloom, they have suffered everything they have to suffer, and they have a unique vibration that they can transfer to humans. And that's what they do. That's what flowers actually do on their own, even if we don't have their essence. But their essence makes it just an automatic inner healing.
Can you tell us what you're working on right now with the business and everything? Do you have
So what
anything
I'm working
new?
on right now is I find it's really cool. This is something that not only I do as a hobby, but I also have it as my own business. And for me to better understand my client and to better understand each and every essence, you would a Bach flower set has 36 flowers.
Mm-hmm.
And then I make my own flowers through what I know. So for example, a flower that is not in a Bach flower set would be what's this flower called that I really enjoy? Bleeding heart. So the bleeding heart flower. Beating it doesn't need much of an introduction. Its name kind of says it all. It's not like holly where it opens your heart. It's bleeding heart lets you forgive, lets you move past real wounds. So that would be one to heal past wounds in the heart, as holly opens up your heart.
Right. That's where I could talk about this all day, and I'm sure there's so many people who would have questions. Before I get all your information, I always ask, what message would you give to people who, what message would you send out there for people who are considering healing through a more natural way? Somebody that's considering it, what would your message to them be?
Oh, my message to people considering healing through any natural way. One, I would tell them it's not easy. It's not a one-stop shop. It's not a magic pill. There isn't any. And the moment you choose which way to go, whether it be meditation, yoga, flower essences, essential oils, whatever you choose, you will have to complement it. You will complement it because naturally you will be inspired to complement it. And it's not a quick fix. And that's why I got into flower essences, because flower essences is kind of a really good starting point where it kind of is a quick fix. So
right.
If you kind of don't know where to start, a lot of people today that I know that have become healers themselves, just like myself, are like, Betty, I am doing what I'm doing today because you gave me flower essences, because you put me in my spot. I just needed a push. That's it. But then you're able to complement it with whatever other aspect you want. Because sometimes you're like, well, I want to meditate. I feel like it's something that I need to do, but I can't because my mind's all over the place. You flower essence that and it's done. And you can get concentrating the next day.
That's amazing. Yeah, it gives you a more holistic approach to healing, which is wonderful. A lot of more people are looking for that.
Yeah, exactly. And then if we look at flowers are super sustainable. It's not something that's very expensive. It's not something that runs out quickly. There's no harm to it as well. There's no age limit. You can literally take it breastfeeding. You can take it while you're pregnant. You can put it topically. You can take it internally. It's a whole family remedy. In my family, that's our medicine. It's our medicine for everything. Because even if you're sick, every time you have a cold, there's an emotion behind it. The faster you hit you eliminate the emotion, your symptoms will just disappear.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Now I do have a question for you that I ask everybody at the end of an interview is, what would you like to be when you grow up?
So you know what I want to be when I grow up? I've thought about this before, and I've even written it down. So I would love to be a speaker. I love talking. That's why I'm a teacher. I just talk a lot. I talk a lot. I have a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
If you don't stop me, I can keep on going. So I would love to combine two of my passions, which is healing, healing, flower essence, spirituality, with English language teaching. with teaching students of a second language. I kind of do that with my classes, and students really appreciate it, because whenever you're learning a second language, you're going through a lot. You're going through a lot of it. Yeah. And I feel like they appreciate it. And for me, it makes the classes just more my style.
Yeah. It's good. And it gives you a connection with the students as well, which then it just makes learning a lot easier. So that's wonderful.
So what do I want to be when I grow up? I don't know if it's a title or not, but let's call it English through spirit.
Like that. That's very good. That'll be a new thing. You make it your thing. That's awesome. That's awesome. Now, I know there's a lot of people who might have some questions or would like to know more. So how could we reach you? What's the best way to get a hold of you if anybody wants to know more about flower essence healing?
So my webpage is www.plusalma, that's plusalma.com. So Plus Alma is more soul. Alma is soul in Spanish. And it's and that's what flower essence do. They just lift up your spirit, your soul. And you don't have to believe in it. So that's one thing that I love about flower essence. There's no believing.
Yeah.
You don't have to believe in anything.
That's true.
You don't have to believe it if it will work or not. It just does. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think we go to you don't go to the pharmacy and believe, oh, I'm going to take this and I'm going to believe or not believe. Sometimes, but you could, right?
Yeah.
But,
you just, especially if it's prescribed, you just.
It's the same thing with flower essence. You don't even have to believe if you don't want to.
Yeah, that's amazing. So yeah, and I'll add once we air the episode, I'll add your contact information as well, so people can look into the comments or the description of the show, and you'll be able to get a hold of Betty if you want some more information on the healing process. So I want to thank you so much for taking the time. I could talk about you. With this, or I can't even speak now. I could talk about this with you all day because it's so interesting. But is there anything that you would like to add before we end the show?
Oh no, just a million thanks. I think we've gone on for way too long. I adore you. Thank you so much for even thinking of me, for your time, your presence. Thank you very much, Danielle.
Thank you for agreeing to be on. Yes, same to you. And for anybody watching, look for those comments or the description of the show to see how you can get a hold of Betty or get more information on flower essence, healing through flower essence. So until then, stay safe, stay awesome, and we'll see you soon.
Bye.